what's going on, you guys? Nick here with Nick Strength and Power. So the prejudging for the 2025 British Grand Prix just wrapped up. Now, this is the first call out from the live stream, but unfortunately, there's 6 guys on stage here, and the camera never adjusts to show all of them. You can really only see three and a half guys on stage at the same time. But it appears to be between Sauce Harati and Michael Krizo. They were pretty much in the center the whole time. They came back out for another 4-man call-out, and it seems like James Hollingshead slipped outside of that top 4 because he wasn't in the final 4-man call-out. But I do want to point out, in this first call-out, the guy to the left of Michael Krizo, Pablo Lopez, he looks absolutely insane. His upper body is crazy. Look at the size of his delts and the condition that he's in. I think he's probably going to wind up in 3rd place here, but I think this is the best I think I've seen him look. Every time we've seen him at a show, it's one of these international shows, and he's always one of the guys that he's not one of the bigger names, at least to the English-speaking fans. But every time I see him compete, I'm really impressed with his upper body. His delts are just crazy. Now, with Krizo, it's interesting. When he first came out, from the individuals to the beginning of this first call-out, I thought that Krizo was the clear winner. But as this first call-out went on, Krizo faded quite a bit. He was drenched in sweat by the time this call-out ended. And I don't think that by the end of it, he was as clear of the winner. I think it's between him and Sauce didn't really fade at all. If anything, he got a little bit tighter. And then when they did the final 4-man call-out, it included Joan Purdells, Michael Krizo, Sauce Harati, and Pablo Lopez again. So those are your top 4, again, between Krizo and Sauce. I don't think Krizo faded as bad the second round, but again, by the end of this round of posing, Krizo was sweating pretty bad again. He was fading again. And honestly, it's a little bit tough to tell because at certain points, I mean, you can't really even see the lower bodies of these guys, especially Krizo, because of the cameras and the press that are standing right there. So it's tough to really say, and the lighting was a bit dark here. I think that Krizo might still have it, but I think this is a show, really no offense to this lineup, but this is a show that maybe should have been a slam dunk for Krizo, and I don't think that it was. He looked absolutely exhausted by the time each one of these callouts ended. He was soaking wet, covered in sweat by the time each one of these callouts ended. Faded quite a bit each time. I still think he might have been ahead because it was between him and Sauce. And I think Krizo's condition was actually pretty decent, especially from the start. It was a pretty good version of Krizo. If he didn't fade, I think he would have easily won this. I don't know if he faded enough to lose it because the size difference between him and Sauce was pretty noticeable. The conditioning difference, he did fade a bit, but I think he still held it together maybe enough to pull off the win. But again, it's tough to say because I couldn't really see his lower body that well. I couldn't see how dialed his glutes and hamstrings were. I couldn't really see how great his quads looked. And for part of it, I was really leaning towards Sauce, but I wonder if it's just because I could see Sauce's lower body pretty clearly and not Krizo's. And Sauce, you guys know, has such crazy conditioned quads. And so I kind of feel like Krizo still has it, but I think it's definitely a toss-up between those two. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. I know it was a bit tough to see. The live stream was free, though, so props to ESN. ESN has done some really good things this year for live streams, and they did the deadlift world record attempt for free. They also did that stream, so I got to give them credit for that, but it was kind of difficult to see what was going on in this prejudging first call out here due to the angle of the camera that never zoomed out and the fact that, the press was like right in front of it. But let me know who you guys got winning in the comments down below. Now, next up in the news, at this Brazil show today, Ramon Dino does a guest posing that's got everybody talking. Now that the Olympia is past and over, he looks significantly bigger and fuller, and I think people are starting to envision the open bodybuilding version of Ramon Dino. Now that they see him, unrestricted, he's been eating. He already looks a lot bigger than he looked on the Olympia stage. What really stuck out to me, though, was his back. His back looked pretty crazy here. And we're only a week post-Olympia. Bear that in mind. And I just think Ramon looks significantly fuller and bigger, and his condition is still crazy. I am curious to see what Ramon starts to do or decides to do now that he's won the title. Does he stay in Classic? Does he move to Open? He's achieved his goal in Classic. And he just looks huge at this guest posing. That was my takeaway. And we're only a week after the Olympia, so that's how much I feel like that weight restriction may have been holding him back. Just a week of him eating. He looks massive here. But that's the thing that's always impressed me about Ramon is like when we would see the off-season updates and he'd be like 265, which is about what Urs weighed, by the way, competing in Open. Urs weighed about 260, I believe, at the Olympia. But like in the off-season updates of Ramon, when he was at that weight, he's still peeled like this. Like he's in really good condition for being this size. And he's like that in the off-season too. That's why I think it would be easy for him, maybe even easier than Urs, to just blow up in the Open and come in way bigger. Now, next up in the news, Justin Baturina wins the Hurricane Pro, the classic physique competition, the qualifier for 2026. Justin Baturina was 9th at the 2025 Classic Physique Olympia. At this Hurricane Pro, he again defeated Matt Garego, who was 10th at the Olympia, so back-to-back defeating Matt. This has been a hell of a year for Justin. He's a really young guy. I've talked to him a few times. Really nice guy, and he's headed back to the Classic Physique Olympia 2026, looking to improve upon this year's 9th place placing, which I think he probably will do. I think he's got a great physique. Now, next up in the news, Samson Dauda seems to be posting daily updates. So every single day we're seeing a new video from Samson Dauda. And today, at 7 days out from the Prague Pro, Samson apparently is back up to 300 pounds already. After we know at the Olympia he competed at 280. So in 1 week, Samson is up 20 pounds and doesn't really seem to have sacrificed really any condition or detail at all. He still looks incredible here. He looks a lot better, honestly, than he looked on the Olympia stage in these posing videos. And maybe that's kind of why he's documenting his day-to-day progress. But I'm very curious to see how much of an improvement we get from Samson at the Olympia to Samson at the Prague show. So 2 weeks total will be in between the two shows. And dare I say, this is kind of an important show for Samson. I know that he's doing it to get a little bit of redemption, to bring a better look than he brought to the Olympia. He clearly made some mistakes with his prep at the O. But this, I don't think, is going to be necessarily easy for Samson, considering how he looked at the Olympia. I think he will look better, for sure, but it is only 2 weeks. And I think that with Martin and Keon in this lineup, there were people making an argument that Martin should have been ahead of Samson. And I think Keon is no slouch either. I think Keon has a legitimate shot at this too. So typically, Samson entering any show is like a slam dunk for Samson. It's typically, we know who's going to win now because Samson is in it. I don't think that's necessarily the case here. I think this is going to be a close one. I think it all depends on how much better Samson looks in the Olympia. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Is this going to be a redemption moment for Samson? Or is there a real possibility that he loses Prague too? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, click that bell notification icon if you have not already. And as always, I love you guys, appreciate you guys. Nick Strength and Power signing out. All right, guys, don't forget to click that like button and subscribe to this channel if you enjoy the content. Also, check out my Instagram at Nick Strength Power. My Facebook page, which is simply Nick Strength and Power. My secondary YouTube channel, Nick Strength and Vlogs, for vlogs and bonus content that you will not see on this channel. And consider subscribing to my third YouTube channel, Nick Strength and Pokemon, which is all things Pokemon and trading card games, completely unrelated to this channel. So if you're into that, give that one a look. And all links to merchandise and social media will be in the description box below. If you guys want a Nick Strength and Power t-shirt, that will be in the Shopify link below. Have a great day.